The Korthak arena had witnessed thousands of executions, but never one quite like this. General Vexthar stood on the elevated platform, his forearms crossed in satisfaction as he surveyed the massive Colosseum. 50,000 Korthak warriors filled the seats, their chittering voices creating a symphony of bloodlust. At the center of the arena, a single human knelt in the sand, hands bound behind his back with quantum restraints. Behold! Vexthar's voice boomed through the arena's amplification system. The pathetic creature that dared to infiltrate our flagship. His mandibles clicked in amusement. This seal, as his kind calls him, thought he could rescue his captured comrades alone. The crowd roared its approval. Vexthar had made quite the spectacle of capturing the human. 3 days ago, this Marcus Chen had somehow bypassed their security, disabled half their defense grid, and nearly reached the detention level before they cornered him. The audacity was almost admirable, if it hadn't been so foolish. "Tell me, human," Vexthar called down to the arena floor, "what thoughts fill your primitive mind in these final moments?" Marcus Chen raised his head slowly. Even from this distance, Vexthar could see the human's dark eyes scanning the arena with clinical precision. There was no fear there, no pleading for mercy, just calculation. "I'm thinking," Chen said, his voice carrying clearly through the arena's acoustics, "that your security really needs an upgrade." The crowd's laughter was deafening. Vexthar's mandibles spread wider, these humans in their ridiculous bravado, even in the face of certain death. "Release the harvester," Vexthar commanded. A massive gate groaned open at the arena's edge. The creature that emerged stood 12 feet tall, its carapace gleaming like black metal. 6 blade-tipped appendages writhed from its torso, each one capable of cutting through starship hull plating. The harvester had never failed to reduce its prey to component atoms within minutes. The beast fixed its compound eyes on the kneeling human and began its approach with deliberate, predatory steps. The crowd fell silent, anticipating the moment when those razor appendages would begin their work. That's when Chen smiled. It wasn't the desperate grin of a doomed man. It was the quiet, confident expression of someone who had been waiting for exactly this moment. The quantum restraints around Chen's wrists flickered once, then dissolved into sparks. The human rose to his feet in a fluid motion that sent a chill down Vexthar's spine. Those weren't the movements of a defeated prisoner. They were the movements of an apex predator that had been lying in wait. "Impossible," Vexthar snarled. "Those restraints are quantum locked to my biometrics," Chen interrupted, rolling his shoulders. "Yeah, I noticed. Took me about 6 hours to figure out how to reverse the polarity using my own electrical field. Your tech specs could use some work." The harvester lunged forward with impossible speed, all 6 blades converging on where Chen had been standing. But the human was no longer there. He had moved, not with the desperate scrambling of prey, but with the liquid precision of someone who had spent his entire life turning disadvantages into opportunities. Chen's hand found the creature's primary neural cluster at the base of its skull. One perfectly placed strike, delivered with surgical precision. The harvester's nervous system overloaded instantly, and 12 feet of death machinery crashed to the arena floor with a sound like thunder. First heartbeat. Vexthar's mind struggled to process what he had just witnessed. The harvester, their most deadly gladiatorial beast, had been neutralized in less than 3 seconds. "Guards!" he bellowed. "Kill the human." 20 Korthak warriors dropped into the arena from concealed positions, plasma rifles charging with deadly whines. They formed a perfect circle around Chen, each weapon trained on the lone human. Chen didn't even look concerned. He reached down to the fallen harvester and, with movements too fast to follow, tore free one of its blade appendages. The organic weapon was nearly as long as Chen was tall, its edge monomolecular sharp. The first guard to fire learned that plasma bolts travel in straight lines. Chen did not. Second heartbeat. The human became a blur of motion, using the harvester's own blade to deflect plasma fire back at its sources. 3 guards fell to their own reflected shots before the others could adjust their aim. Third heartbeat. Chen closed the distance to the remaining guards with inhuman speed. The blade in his hands moved like liquid lightning, finding the gaps in Korthak armor with impossible precision. 7 more warriors fell before they could fire another shot. Fourth heartbeat. The last 10 guards tried to scatter, but Chen had already calculated their movement patterns. He threw the blade with perfect accuracy, the spinning weapon cutting through 4 guards before embedding itself in the arena wall. The remaining 6 barely had time to register their comrades' deaths before Chen reached them, now fighting with nothing but his bare hands. Korthak physiology was impressive. They were stronger than humans, faster than humans, with natural armor plating and redundant organ systems. But evolution had never prepared them for someone who fought like Chen fought. Every strike targeted nervous systems. Every movement exploited biomechanical weaknesses that shouldn't have been visible to human perception. Fifth heartbeat. The arena fell silent. 20 elite Korthak warriors lay motionless in the sand. The Harvester's corpse dominated the center of the arena, and Marcus Chen stood alone, not even breathing hard. Vexthar's throat made a sound he had never heard from his own vocal cords before, something between a whimper and a death rattle. "You want to know what a seal is?" Chen called up to the platform, his voice carrying to every corner of the suddenly silent arena. "We're what happens when a species spends 10,000 years learning that the only way to survive is to become more dangerous than everything trying to kill us." He began walking toward the platform. "We don't just adapt to hostile environments, we become the hostile environment." Vexithar's guards raised their weapons, but their general held up a trembling hand. Something in the human's eyes promised that any aggressive action would result in consequences beyond imagination. "You came to Earth thinking you'd found easy prey," Chen continued, his voice never rising above conversational level. "You see our small size, our lack of natural armor, our single hearts, and you assume weakness." He reached the base of the platform. "But you never asked why a species with no claws, no fangs, no armor, and no redundant organs became the apex predator on a planet full of things specifically designed to kill us." With impossible ease, Chen leaped 15 feet straight up, landing on the platform beside Vexthar. The general's forearms trembled as the human placed one gentle hand on his carapace. "The answer," Chen said softly, "is that we became very, very good at breaking things that shouldn't be breakable." Vexithar felt something give way inside his thorax, not quite damaged, but definitely rearranged. "Now," Chen said, stepping back, "I believe you have some of my people to return to me." The arena remained silent as 50,000 Korthak warriors contemplated a new and terrifying truth. There were things in the universe far more dangerous than anything they had ever imagined, and humanity was one of them.